Today is 5th of June. Market trade a bull bar on increased volume, up 13.3917. Seeing making a high on the 13th of May, market has been trading in tight range. This is a positive development. Now I would like to actually have a base form here and eventually take out the intraday high here of 3956 and eventually challenge the prior high here of 4005. Let's take a look at a weekly chart for clarity. This has been a very strong upward move. If you notice, we have very shallow pullback. This is a positive sign. I'd like to look for eventually break on the upside. What is required right now is actually a catalyst. This is the weekly charts of Nasdaq. Very strong move and managed to recover above the 40-week simple moving average. Now this gap here and the 40-week simple moving average provide very strong support. And the fact that this week itself we can see that the markets actually trade above the week is a positive sign. The only thing is that we do not have very good volume. Mentioned in previous videos, it is likely to be stuck within this area here, and that is generally fine. We like to actually wait for it to eventually break on the upside after forming a base over here. Let's take a look at S&P 500. Quite similar patterns, managed to recover above the 40 SMA, and right now it's actually trading sideways, so it's taking a breather. This gap at the 40 weeks provides some support. Again, we do have a congestion here, so more likely it may be stuck within this area. This is the chart of Brent crude. After breaking significant support at $71, it kind of oscillates, trading sideways. This is actually consolidating. Now we see that the OPEC Plus has actually increased productions, and Saudi Arabia has actually cut price for the Asian markets. It does indicate that actually the downward pressures may be still there. We may see further weakening of the Brent crude price. This is the 10-year Treasury yield. After making a high at 4.63%, it actually retraced, and right now currently trading at a support at 4.36. However, it still remains elevated, and this is the very significant support. It may well bounce off from here, and this is generally again a negative for REITs. Let's turn our attentions to the local markets. Now we'll be discussing Centurion for quite some time. This stock actually has staged a series of swing breakout recently, and the most recent one is just yesterday. This is a contraction break. Today from an inside day on low volume. This is positive. We'd like to look for a setup and eventually break this high here at 150. Now if you take a look at the weekly charts, you can see that actually the stock is actually trading with increasing daylight, so we just have to be careful. Ben United, managed to recover and break on an upside with a bullish gap. This is positive. We've noticed the last 2 days itself the pullback are accompanied with low volume. This is still positive. This is a sign of strength. Look for a break above the high of 765. Oitech. Stock has been oscillating, and it is important is trade above the high volume support, which is at 525. Now after the high actually made on the 2nd of June, it trade a series of inside day. This is just marking time. We like to look for eventually take out this high here of 757. Now we do have a resistance at this level here at about 615. LHN stock managed to actually break the resistance, and we have nice follow through on increased volume. Look for pullback and look for new setups to go long. Hong Leong Asia, After breaking through this resistance, stocks actually consolidating halfway in very tight range, and today we have a break on the upside. I would like to see eventually challenge this high here of 128. OKP. After an announcement of a contract win, stock gap up and followed by shallow pullback. This is a small deeper setup. Bar high here is 785. Now notice the high, huge daylight here. It would be good if you can continue trade sideways. Close up the daylights. Food Empire. Very nice breaks. After this run up, we consolidate sideways and actually take out this high here. And today it closed at its high. Look for pullback and look for a new setup. This is Chinese Sansing on the weekly charts because lack of persistency to trade on the daily charts. Stock actually make a high followed by a pullback. I'd like to see eventually take out this high here of 57 cents. This Takra. There's a potential IPO listing of an associated company, and the stock run up very significantly, and there's also a coverage by Philips Security that could have fueled the run. Otherwise, this stock is actually quiet. Notice actually it lacked liquidity, but this somehow has changed. Notice the increase in volume, and at this point in time, this is a small deeper setup. Bar high here is at 164. Let's take a look at the bank stock, DBS. After the run up, stock actually trading sideways. I mentioned previously it's better to trade on the weekly for clarity. Notice very nice run up and followed by a shallow pullback. I would like to look for eventual break above the high here of 45.15. Convincingly with high volume because we do have overhead resistance. For the conservative, we can wait for the resistance here to be taken out and look for the first pullback. Set up during the first pullback. Now this is actually much stronger than, for example, OCBC. If you notice, actually we have a gap resistance here, and this is a important levels to watch, and it's just hovering below that resistance. UOB. Again, quite similar patterns after a run up followed by pullback. It's just that DBS actually is more promising chart pattern wise, and right now what is required is actually a catalyst to trigger the move. The other big cap stock perhaps is better, particular ST Engineering, Singtel. So this happens to be the weekly chart of Singtel, and it's trading sideways, a contraction chart on the weekly charts. On the daily chart itself, we can see it's actually consolidating. So again, we just have to patiently wait it out and eventually take out this high here of $4. SG Engineering. Managed to trade series of inside day. This is a contraction setup. Bar high here is 802. Sencore is actually lackluster among the blue chips, kind of hovering below the resistance. Alright, and if you notice, you have been doing that for quite some time. We are looking for a decisive break above the recent high here, and this is at about 675.